Welcome into the Sporting News Studios for First and 10, your weekly look at college football, brought to you by our good friends at Allstate. My name is Tom Vandervoort, and joining me, as always, a man who is committed to bringing you the best in college football coverage, Matt Hayes. And Matt, we're going to talk about commitment in just a sec. But first, I want to talk to you about the SEC, and you're telling me whether they win the national title or not, they've already won the Heisman Trophy. Explain yourself, sir.
Tom, I know we're all full of SEC fatigue right now. They're the great conference with all the great players, with the kingmaker, commissioner. It's just all SEC. We're SEC'd out, right? Let me tell you something. Without the SEC, Johnny Manziel would not have won the Heisman Trophy. Because if Texas A&M is still playing in the Big 12, Johnny Manziel is just a freshman quarterback who's had a huge season because he doesn't have that signature moment of the win at Alabama. And he doesn't really have the weight of the SEC behind him, because if Johnny Manziel is playing at Texas A&M in the Big 12, a lot of voters will see Johnny Manziel throwing for 4,000 or accounting for 4,500 yards or those whatever those crazy numbers were, Tom, against Big 12 defenses. And I think that has a lot to do with it. So people see that, wow, this is a freshman. He's playing in the SEC. He went on the road and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. How many teams have done that? How many players have done that? He got a big jolt from playing in the SEC.
Yeah, it's a bit different than racking up a bunch of yards against, say, West Virginia, I guess is what you're saying.
It is, and when you look at a lot of people say, well, what about last year with Robert Griffin III? How did he win in the Big 12? Because we had 3 years of, wow, look at Robert Griffin. That's why. We had basically one season of Johnny Manziel, who, when you really think about it, Tom, played kind of average against, bowl teams, FBS bowl teams, played really well against non-bowl teams and non-BCS teams, struggled against Florida and LSU, and had a big game against Alabama. So when you really start breaking down his resume, that one game against Alabama did it for him. And the fact, of course, that he played in the SEC.
There you go. And let's talk about commitment, Matt, because I know you're committed. I'm certainly committed. These players, like Manziel, they all make commitments. But now you're going to tell me the universities and the coaches maybe aren't that committed and that this thing is a business. What's going on?
A business? Is it possible that college football is a business? Seriously, Tom, think about it. The reality is coaches aren't committed to their jobs. Universities really aren't committed to coaches. They can say they are. The universities are committed to building a football program. The coaches are committed to winning games. Neither one is committed to the other. Coaches will say, I'm committed to this program. I'm committed to these kids. This is where I want to be, while they're looking for other jobs. Universities will say, we're committed to Coach A. We know he can get the job done. We give him the vote of confidence. A month later, he's fired. We've seen coaches fired after 1 year. We've seen coaches fired after 2 years. So when these coaches start leaving after they say they're committed, don't get mad at them. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. Can you pinpoint, have things changed? I mean, give us some perspective on kind of the business angle here. Have things changed dramatically in the last 10 years as far as the money in the sport and the changes that programs are willing to make on such short order, or are things not that different from how they were 10 years ago?
Tom, I think 15 years ago when Steve Spurrier became the first $1 million coach in college football, I think it kind of opened a lot of eyes, but more than anything, it kind of set the arms race going. And then Steve Spurrier became the first $2 million a year coach. And then the next thing you know, Mac Brown is making over $5 million a year to coach at Texas. And to get a good coach, to get the coach that you think can build your program and make you a winning program, you've got to pay money now. You've got to pay millions. You look at the SEC, I think almost every coach makes over $2 million. So it's crazy the way the salaries are right now. A lot of it is it's just the natural progression in the economy and the coaching salaries. But we are at a point now where it's just a lot of money, and for anyone to think that these coaches are committed because they're throwing out or accepting that kind of money, or universities are committed because they're giving out that kind of money, it's just crazy. They're committed, universities, to winning football games. Coaches are committed to winning football games. Simple as that.
There you go. Now, one coach we haven't actually talked a lot about because he's just hired at the University of South Florida, Willie Taggart. You're telling me this guy, even though he's not a name guy, might be a pretty good head coach over there.
I'm telling you, a young guy, sub 40, a guy that can recruit, a guy that has proven along the way he knows how to coach. He was there with Jim Harbaugh at Stanford, was part of that process of building a Stanford program, Tom, that was down in the dumps, the worst in the then Pac-10, now Pac-12. It's now an elite program in the Pac-12. He goes to Western Kentucky, a startup program in Division I or FBS, whatever you want to call it. He's done remarkable things there. He's a guy that can recruit. He's a guy that can motivate. Players love this coach. And for some reason, those 4 huge SEC openings, Willie Taggart didn't get a sniff. You know what? They're all going to regret it, every one of them, because USF got the best coaching hire of the offseason.
Well, there you go. Big words from Matt Hayes. Thanks for your time today, Matt.
Okay, Tom.
That's going to do it for First and 10, presented once again by Allstate. My name is Tom Vandervoort. We'll see you next time.